But how was the global handover coming in this morning?
Good morning to you as well, Winnie, and happy Monday if it can ever be one.
Yes.
But let's quickly see what the global handover will look like on Friday as well as over the week. Now let's start with the US markets then, and the US stock markets will be closed today for the Juneteenth holiday. And the US markets ended lower on Friday with the NASDAQ declining almost 0.7%, the S&P 500 fell approximately 0.4%, and the Dow Jones Industrial Average declined almost 0.3% to end the week at the 34,300 mark. Now comments from two Federal Reserve officials curtailed optimism that the central bank is nearing the end of its aggressive interest rate hikes, and losses in technology, consumer services and financial sectors dragged the US markets lower. Let's see what the US markets did on a weekly basis. Now, for the week, the S&P 500 rose 2.6%, so quite an uptick there. The Dow added 1.2% and the NASDAQ gained 3.2%. The NASDAQ logged its 8th consecutive week of gains, the S&P 500 gained for the 5th consecutive week, and the Dow Jones gained for the 4th consecutive week. Now let's look at what the European markets did, and they closed higher on Friday as investors digested the latest monetary policy decision from the European Central Bank. They've decided to go with a hike of 25 basis points more, and the Pan-European Stock 600 index ended 0.5% higher, with most sectors and major bosses closing in the positive territory. Now household goods stocks led gains with a 1.8% uptick, while mining and technology stocks ended 0.5% lower and 0.3% lower respectively. But this is what the global handover looked like, fairly positive from the US, a little bit of a mix from Europe. But Winnie, on that note, why don't you take us through what crude did over the weekend and what other commodities?
So crude at some point of time was gaining in trade, but now it's come off those high levels this morning. We're seeing a bit of a decline there, some bit of a correction coming in this morning in terms of the Brent crude oil prices. Let's look at in terms of what we're seeing. They've mainly come off. Why? Is because earlier, what we saw in terms of the gains there as banks cut China's growth forecast. So because of that, obviously in terms of the top consumer over there, if there are demand issues that come in from there, that does in turn impact the crude oil prices as well. Now globally, we've seen them coming off a bit from the last week gain in terms of what is going to be the situation from China that mainly outweigh the OPEC plus the output cuts that saw in coming in as well, and that is a main factor that is coming into play in terms of the Brent crude oil prices as well. This morning, as of now, when you look at the Brent crude oil prices, they are at around 75.78 as of now, which is, yes, about that $75 per barrel mark, but it's closing towards that 75 mark. So that is one to watch out for, because seeing a bit of a fall coming in this morning. As of now, Brent crude oil is down almost 0.6% in trade. So yes, keeping an eye on that one. While in terms of obviously what is WTI crude oil doing, $71 per barrel mark is where WTI crude oil is at. Looking at the gold prices, they're a bit wobbly in trade, with a hawkish Fed outlook, weaker dollar. These factors come into play for the gold prices, so they're still a bit wobbly on that front, but keeping an eye on that, that's the update coming in as of now in terms of the commodities as well.